Hi everyone. I'm not sure if everybody's joined, but I'm going to get started. Welcome to our webinar on business recovery planning, presented by me, Cheryl Sharp. For those of you who don't know me, I am the founder and owner of Pink Pig Financials. We are an accountancy practice dedicated to helping business owners to grow their business while they can do the things, or allowing them, sorry, to do the things they love with the people they love. So if you're new to Zoom, just a couple of quick things to point out. At the bottom, you've got the chat box. And you've also got the Q&A box. So chat, you can chat between yourselves or in general. Q&A, please put any questions in here as we go along, and then at the end I will answer them in our Q&A session. And if you do need to leave at any point, obviously just click on the leave meeting bottom right hand side. So I'm going to start with a thought of the day. Obviously we've got a bit of a rocky situation going on at the moment. Smooth seas don't make skillful sailors. So what this is saying is, obviously in our businesses at the moment, we're facing challenges and we're able to learn from these challenges to take it forward and be able to help our business to grow. And if we get placed through this, if we get through this, sorry, we're going to be well placed for future crises. Hopefully we won't have one ever as bad as this, but all of this is learning and helping us to get to the next stage of our business. So this is the agenda for today. We're going to talk through each of these. So closing the disconnect, the need to reinvent, your budget, both personal and business. And then we're going to look at some opportunities, vulnerabilities and critical challenges and why it's key we need to identify these. And we're also going to look at identifying and managing risks, goals and actions for the coming months, and then how we're going to pull all this together as a complete package. Followed by your next steps, how we're able to support, and of course a Q&A at the end. Before we get stuck in, I just want to throw in the usual disclaimer though, that we're also famous for in our industry. We're not insolvency specialists here, and hopefully none of you will need to go down the insolvency route. There are very strict rules and regulations around solvency, some of which have been amended to account for the impacts of COVID-19. However, if your business is unable to continue and to trade as a result of solvency or bank finance issues, we can of course refer you to the relevant qualified specialist to get you through that. So before we get started, I just wanted to share some thoughts about how we can stay better connected at this time. And by saying connected, I'm not talking about obviously how you can be connected with technology and things like these webinars and our meetings, although these are important, of course, but I'm coming from the perspective of how we can work together more effectively, both now and in the future, where your expertise can be combined with our expertise. It's like the old adage of 1 + 1 = 5. With our combined expertise, we get a greater outcome. And in our view, it's never been more important to create and connect with a team of people who can help you at this time and building really secure relationships that will see you through this and help you to grow your business. So people, for example, your bank manager, if you have one, your legal and especially your HR people, if you've got staff, obviously your accountant, us, and bookkeeper if you have a separate bookkeeper. And then together we can all come up with a better plan of how we're going to get you through this. As I said before, at Pink Pig Financials, our core purpose is to help you grow your business and enable you to do the things you love with the people you love. Hence why we're running this webinar. This should be the beginning of how we can work together even better. So take lots of notes. Don't be shy about asking questions. I often say the only silly question is one you don't ask. And I'm pretty sure if you're thinking of a question, that somebody else is probably thinking exactly the same thing. Right. So during times of adversity, we're often forced to think about outside the square, to reinvent the way we work, the way we behave. And we see 4 main opportunities for you to reinvent your business. So the first opportunity is to innovate. The Oxford Dictionary defines innovation as the introduction of new things, ideas of ways of doing something. And we've seen so many amazing examples of this during the pandemic. One of which has been a company that changed from selling travel air pillows to hair clippers. It's complete reinnovation of what they do. So in this sense, innovation is doing something completely different. So a completely new product and a completely new service line. And then this brings on to the second way, is to re-engineer. So the Cambridge Dictionary redefines re-engineer as to change and improve the design of a product or system. In other words, use what you've already got to produce something completely different. So for an example of this would be a gin distillery, and many breweries around the country are currently moving from producing the normal beer, wine, gin, whatever it is they produce, to creating their own hand sanitizer. Another example is the Formula 1 teams who took up the NHS challenge in the UK to make ventilators. And also Virgin have been doing that as well. So there's many ways you can re-engineer what you already do to find something new. The third way to reinvent your business is to adapt or change the way you deliver products or your services. So remember the biological definition of adaptation, which is the process by which a species becomes more fitted to its environment, which all sounds a bit clinical, but in other words, it's taking the new normal or the new environment that we find ourselves in, and how do we change it to change what we do to suit the environment better. So obviously a good example of this is us. For example, we used to use Zoom a little bit for calls and meetings, but now we've moved everything online, which I'm sure many businesses have done. Many businesses are now doing delivery of goods for the first time, where they've always been shop-based before. Takeaways, restaurants have now doing takeaway, or they're delivering takeaway. So there's loads of ways that you can adapt to suit the current climate, and of course the going forward into the new normal. So as I said before, there's 4 ways to reinvent your business. So we've looked at innovation, re-engineering and adaptation. Now on to number 4, widen your lane. And what we mean by widening your lane is to take your product or your service and expand it. For example, a cafe who before would do solely cakes and tea and coffee, they can expand this service to now include ready-made meals, boxed, cakes to take away, other sweet treats. But then they can also take it further to sell the ingredients all bagged up ready for somebody to take away, and then with the recipe create that themselves at home. So with these 4 ideas in mind, think about what you can do with your business. And this is what business recovery planning is all about. Right, so taking it step back a little bit now, there's a natural order in which to reinvent your business. With the business continuity planning we did a few weeks back, we asked you to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And with business recovery planning, this is no different. You need to remember the business is there to serve you, not the other way around. You should not be a slave to your business. It needs to deliver what you need to live. So step one is to put your own hat on and define what you need from your business. So obviously looking at the moment, I'm sure many of us have made savings in our personal spending because we're not actually able to go out and spend. So what other savings can you make for a period to reduce the cash flow strain on your business? Which of the savings that you've currently got can you continue? Updating your personal budget is best done using a template, which we can supply if you need one, so you don't miss any expenses. And the easiest way to do this is literally get your bank statement out and go through, see what you spend every month. I'd probably look at doing this initially from a few months ago, so maybe look at January or February when you was paying out all the time, and compare it also into the last month or two and see what savings you've made. Obviously be really realistic. Is it something you can sustain, or is it something you think you can sustain but in reality is not actually going to happen? But also think about when realistically you will start spending this money again, because obviously as things start reopening, gyms, restaurants, you probably will start going out more and spending more and start repaying subscriptions that are currently on pause. But can you live without them? Have you lived without them so far? Do you really need to go back to that sort of thing? So just really have a good old think about what you really need personally and what you can save. And then once you've done your personal budget, then you can start looking at your revised business budget. So hopefully you have already done a business budget for the year, or you know what your costs and everything are on a normal day-to-day basis pre-pandemic, but obviously it's going to change a lot now. So what we recommend is what we call a bottom-up process. So you start with the increase in cash you need to achieve for the year, and it's important to start here so you know what you to make sure. So it's important to start here because many businesses have found that they didn't have a sufficient, what we call a war chest, a savings pot of say 3 months cash in a bank to keep you through it. So it's important to understand where you are right now and then how much extra money you need. So yeah, try not to be very accountanty at the moment and go through accountancy terms, but I just want to show you how you can take back control of your spending and understand what you need to do. So if we start walking through here, so we've got other cash movements. So this could be, where can you free up some of your cash? So obviously you've probably got some debtors out there, you may have some stock or some work in progress. What can you do to free up some of the cash tied up in that? Is there work in progress you can part invoice, for example, if you haven't finished it all, but could you do a stage payment request? If your debtors are piling up, start chasing them. We did an earlier webinar on credit control during the pandemic. Yes, it's not as easy. Yes, you may feel horrible doing it, but at the same time, money needs to keep going around. You can't stop paying people just because there's a pandemic. So chase people, but in a different way. And you can refer to our other webinar if you want some ideas and some advice on how to do that. But it's all about ways of you speeding up your cash conversion cycle, which again we covered on our previous webinar. And then we come to loan principal. Now this is an accounting term, so what that means is it's the loan amount you have to pay back every month. So many of you would have taken a bounce back loan or a CBILS loan, and yes, although you don't need to repay it right now, you will start to need to repay that in a year's time. So you need to think about that now as to how much money you're going to need for those repayments. And at the moment, you could just put them to side, or it's one less thing you need to worry about, but you will need to adjust for that going forward to make sure you can actually make those repayments. We then come to assets. There may be new assets you need. So when you reopen, there may be new equipment you need, PPE, ventilation systems, screens when you're making payments. You may want to go completely cashless. All of these are going to be things that you're going to need to pay out for, and you're going to need some money for that. But there could also be some assets that you don't need anymore, that are old, or they're just not necessary. For example, if you've got an office and you've either downsized or you've left your office completely, sell the furniture if it's saleable. All of this is ways of getting money in. And then here's where you add in your personal budget from what you've done previously. And this should be what the money that you're taking out of the business yourself to cover your personal budget. So by adding all of those points we've just gone together, you'll get to a net profit that you need after tax, and that's your goal, to achieve that profit. And then you need to add in the tax on that you need to pay on your acquired profit. And then you can look at your overheads. So what are your overheads? And by overheads, I mean all the other costs in the business: rent, telephone, utilities, accountants, marketing costs, admin costs, all of those sort of things. Add all those up together, and also take a careful look at them. Where can you make savings? What do you need? And you can also include in here your staff. It's a controversial one at the moment, especially with all the new furlough changes, but what staff do you still need? All of your staff? Can you go to part-time? Do you need more staff? All of this sort of thing is things you need to be looking at. But once you've got all your overheads, you'll now have your gross profit figure that you need. And then using this, you can times that by your gross profit percentage, and then you can establish what your sales figure is that you need to give you the money you need, to pay all your overheads and staff and everything, but also to give you the money you need for yourself personally, to repay your loans, and to also buy any more equipment. If you haven't got any loans already, then this could be where you realise that you do actually need to get a loan to tie you over in the first period if that sales figure isn't quite achievable just yet. But this will give you an indication of what you need to achieve and how you're going to be able to do that. And then ideally from here, you want to be able to complete a more detailed forecast on a month-by-month basis to really understand each month where you need to go. So we can help you do this. We can do it with you, sit down with you and do it, or we can provide you a template for you to do yourself. Just need to let us know and we can get that sorted for you. Measuring. So this is one of my favourite things at the moment, and it's where us being able to do real-time accounting and giving you real-time figures and reports of your numbers is so important. So there's a saying, what you measure improves. I kind of think what you measure, you take more notice of, you take more, you pay more attention to it, you look for savings. If you know your numbers, this is a really good starting point to find out where you can make them numbers better. So for example, if you identified your total sales for the year needed to be, say 50k a year, so that would equate to £1,000 a month roughly, sorry, £1,000 a week roughly, 4,000 a month. Or if you want to bring it right down, that's 130-ish pounds a day that you need to be earning. Likewise, if you've got debtor terms of 7 days and your debtors are currently taking 41 days on average to pay you, you'll need to keep a really close eye on that, and then also you can monitor it and see that that is coming down, and that anything you're doing in credit control wise is bringing that number down. So what you need to do is you need to choose 5 of your most important numbers, what we call key performance indicators, or KPIs. You've probably seen them throughout your business life somewhere. So some examples of these would be your daily or weekly sales, gross profit by product or service, debtor days, as we mentioned before. Whatever you need to keep an eye on the most is your key performance indicator. That's the thing you need to keep an eye on. And through reporting is how you can keep an eye on that. So one of the ways you can do that is to, once you've got your budget from the previous slide, we can put that into Xero for you. And then there's a report on there that reports every month your actual to your budget. So you can see where you're going right and where you're going wrong, where you're achieving your budget, but also where you're not achieving your budget. And then you can look into further why you're not achieving that budget. So if that's something you'd like some help with, then just shout and we can give you some indications on how to do that. Basically, there's so many reports on Xero on the dashboard. You can see very quickly at a glance your bank balance, what's owed to you, what's overdue in red. You just need to make Xero work for you on your key performance indicators. We can also help by doing monthly or quarterly reporting and showing you where things are going well, where things aren't going quite so well and need some work, and things like that. So moving on, where once you know what your budget is at high level, it's now time to look at the opportunities that exist to help you achieve the budget and thrive in your business. Obviously at the moment you may be thinking, well, there are no opportunities, but there definitely are. You just need to, as I said, think outside the box and look at what your opportunities could be. Again, we might recommend focusing on no more than 5 key opportunities. And you can think of ways we talked about earlier to reinvent your business. So opportunities could be things like working in more of an online way with your team or customers. As I said before, you may not need your premises anymore, so that's an opportunity to make some savings. You may need to redefine the roles in your business. Or there could be some new products or services you can do. Or it could be, one of your opportunities could be that there's actually quite high demand for your business at the moment. For example, hairdressers and beauticians, no one's been able to get to them for months, just the same as a pub, restaurants, you can't get to those. So when they are able to reopen, you're going to have a high demand. How are you going to seize that opportunity and make it work for you? But other opportunities could be around using technology or improving your systems and get some efficiency gains. So for example, where you are now delivering things over Zoom, webinar, over the phone, obviously you've got more time because you're not traveling to places. So it's all things like that. What can you see that is an opportunity? What we'd recommend is taking time to just sit and brainstorm with your team, your partner, us if you want to, and just get all your ideas out on paper. Doesn't matter what ideas they are, no idea is a bad idea, but just go through and see what you can do. And as much as we want to focus on the positives, we do need to be realistic as well and look at the flip side, which is your vulnerabilities. Again, look at your 5 biggest vulnerabilities. They could be things like poor cash flow, where you've not got good cash conversion cycle. There could be a sustained downturn in demand. People may not want to come back to you just yet because they don't feel it's safe. On the flip side of that, you could have too much demand. Going back to the hairdresser example, I'm sure many of you have seen that meme on Facebook that's going around at the moment. 4th of July, hairdressers open. 5th of July, hairdressers are fully booked until 2027. So how are you going to manage the demand and cope with the amount of people that you're going to have? So in one way it's an opportunity, but it's also vulnerability, vulnerability that you need to manage. And as we're going back to our budget, it could be your credit control is not very good, you need to improve your credit control process, or you may just need some more finance to be able to get you through a vulnerable period. Naming the vulnerabilities that you face enable you to make a plan to overcome them. So it's a great idea to again brainstorm again, get them all down in paper, look at all the possible, I'm not going to say you're going to have them all, but look at the possible problems you could have, and then you can make a plan to overcome them. And I will say is you do need to be brutally honest when you're looking at your vulnerabilities. There's no point in having a rosy plan and then it doesn't work. Try and dig down to the bottom of the vulnerability, the challenge you're going to have, and really think about how you're going to overcome that. Look at the worst case scenario, and then if you plan for worst case but you actually achieve best case, then you're better off than you thought. So once you've identified your 5 biggest opportunities and your 5 vulnerabilities, you need to identify your 2 to 3 most critical challenges. And these could be things like deciding whether or not to sell or liquidate part of the business, but it could also be establishing an online sales platform or securing finance to trade for the next 3 months. So take out the top 3 that you think are the most critical for your business at the moment. So we strongly recommend that you do a careful risk analysis of all the risks in your business. And the best way to do this is to complete a risk register, which assesses the likelihood of each risk and then the consequence for your business if that risk is not mitigated. And we have got a template for this that we can supply you so you can work through this yourself. The risks will fall into 10 categories, which are also known as the 10 hats of your business. So if you're a single business owner with no team, then you would wear all of these hats. But obviously if you have a team, then some of your team members may wear some of these hats, and this is where you'd get them involved in identifying and managing these risks. So you've got governance. So the risks here include poor planning, a lack of up-to-date policies, and poor discipline around working on the business. Leadership. This is risks around communication with your team, reporting, and team morale. Products and services. This could be risk around the lack of adaptation or lack of innovation. Operational. These could be risks around suppliers and your supply chain. Are your suppliers open and able to get your products to you as you need them? But also your key customers. Are your key customers back working and need your products or services? And you've got marketing. Risks including poor return on investment or overspending, but also a lack of digital presence, which has been key throughout obviously the pandemic. Sales, which would be the need to adapt potentially to e-commerce or online selling, but also risks around poor trading and even overselling in these difficult times. Finance, things like lack of sufficient cash flow, poor credit control, data management, poor reporting, no forecast or budget, so you don't know your numbers, and then you don't know when you're going to run out of cash and need some extra help. Those of you with staff, HR, overspending, poorly managed restructuring, grievances, furlough, keeping your team happy, of course, is a big one as well. And then you come on to admin. What admin tasks can you automate so you're not having to do too much admin, which leads us nicely on to technology. What technology is not working for you? What technology do you need to be able to improve your business and processes? And once you've identified all the risks, you can then pull everything together into a cohesive plan with goals, actions, and responsibilities. So many of you may already have a business plan, but a business recovery plan is much more detailed than that. It gets right down into the detail for each of the 10 hats that we just went through. Goals need to be SMART, which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And then once you've got your goals, you need to break those down into actions and actually assign them to someone responsible. So obviously if it's just yourself in the business, then you'll be responsible for each of those. If you have got team members, then share it out with your team so that they're responsible for some of these as well. So these goals and actions should be updated regularly through some form of regular process. So at the moment, it would be worth doing at least a monthly review of all your goals and actions and make sure you are hitting them on time. And if not, why not? And then reviewing why and how you can do things better. And then I'd say at least monthly for 6 months, and then maybe you can look to change to quarterly after that and look at a 90-day, the next 90 days ahead instead. So now we're going to take a closer look at how to pull this all together as a complete package. So depending on your circumstances, your package would include your personal budget, your risk register, your recovery plan with your goals and your actions, your business forecast, and then depending on whether or not you have a team, potentially an updated organisation chart for restructuring your team. And finally, if you do find that through all the planning you've done, you do need some extra finance, then looking at a finance application. So you may not need to do all of this at the beginning. For example, you may have sufficient cash flow right now, but through the planning, you can see in 3 months, you may be at an point where you may need some extra cash flow. So you can plan to sort the finance out, say in maybe a month or two's time, ready for when you do need the money. And likewise, if you don't have a team, and you're not looking to expand your team and get somebody to help you, you may not need to do an organisation chart. But what's important is establishing what's right for you and what combination of these that you do actually need. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you here an example of a business recovery plan, so you can kind of see how this all comes together. So first of all, you'd have an executive summary, which is pretty much what it says. It's a summary of where you are and what you need to do to get to where you want to be. And then we've got a very high level overview of business owners spending the current year and where you'd like to be in 3 years' time, and what you'd like as a person, as a business owner, how many hours you want to work, both at the moment and in the future. And then looking at some of the finance you may need to help you get through. And then this is where you'd take your budget that we put together towards the beginning and then break that down into at least quarterly. And then again, here's the other part of the budget. And then here you've also got the critical KPIs that we spoke about at the beginning. So these are just an example. Obviously you'd have your your specific KPIs for you and your business, and also make a note of your opportunities that you'd like to focus on over the coming months. And then you've got your vulnerabilities and your most critical challenges. And your most critical challenges will be the things that are keeping you up at night, that are really stressing you out. And these are the key things that you need to address first and foremost to get you through. And as I said before, we'll go through each of these in each department or hat, or however you want to call it. You look at the risks and your annual goals, then break that down into your 90-day goals, and then your 90-day actions, who's going to be responsible and by when they're going to do that. Right, so I'm hoping I haven't overwhelmed you too much there. I know we've covered an awful lot. My goal's been to share with you what business recovery plan is all about and how it's going to help you in your business, and an overview of how you can do this. So your next steps from here: doing nothing is not an option. If you do nothing, what's the saying? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We're entering a period of business that's not normal, and we don't yet know what the new normal is. So what you've done previously in the past is quite unlikely to give you the same results that you've had in the past. So you need to look at new ways of getting your results. Remember to put your oxygen mask on yourself first. The more sustainable you can make your business right now, the better for everybody. You need to make a plan to get through the challenging times and focus on what you can do, as opposed to worrying about things you can't control or what could potentially go wrong. Just focus on the things that you can actually do and you can control. And just remember, we are here for you with whatever you need, and we're here and we want to help you. We want to help you get through this. So we've put together a couple of new services of ways we can help you to complement our existing services. And our recommendation strategy is to complete a business recovery plan. Obviously, that's what I've been talking about. I've done one for our own business, and I can say it's really helped me focus where we're going over the coming months. So if you haven't already done any planning, now is the time to do this. And then it also help you going forward in your business as well, long term, and help you improve all your inefficiencies in your business. And it will really help your business to not just survive the next few months, but also thrive as well. So we've got a couple of options. We can do a planning session with you, and we can do this online over Zoom. It would probably take about 4 hours, so we're thinking of doing 2 2-hour sessions. Although if you are happy to do a 4-hour session, I did one the other day with somebody and it actually flew by. Didn't even realise the time, so it is doable. But I appreciate it can be a bit much as well. So we'll send you some pre-work to complete, to really have a think and brainstorm, and then we can help you to take that further and consider each of the impacts on your business, and obviously also all the other opportunities and things as well. And then together we'll be able to put a plan together and set some goals and actions for each of the departments of your business. And this will look very similar to the example plan I just showed you. We can also give you a complimentary business review. So we can send you a template, which is a condensed version of the plan. And this option would suit those of you who are quite happy to do this yourself and don't need us to hold your hand while doing it, and feel confident in doing it. So it's not then a comprehensive plan. It'll be more of a short action plan, and then we can schedule a 15-minute call to review your plan and the next steps. Obviously, the only risk with this approach is, although you have good intentions and you'll probably close your laptop and go off and go, yep, I'm going to do that, you haven't got somebody, again, holding your hand, kicking you up the bum and making you actually do it. And if you're unsure the best way forward, then just ask to book a meeting, a 15-minute call with me, and we can go through your challenges and how we can help you overcome them. If you're going to be obtaining funding, or you've already got a bounce back loan or another loan, then it is absolutely vital you do prepare, can't even say these words now, you prepare a cash flow forecast, just so you know that you'll be able to meet those repayments. The loans do need to be repaid. I can't stress that enough. Even though they are government backed, you will be chased for the money. You are expected to pay them back. So your business needs to generate enough profit and cash to make those repayments. We know it's difficult to commit to spending money right now, and I appreciate that. So we've got options available, so you don't have to pay out huge lump sum of money. So please don't let cost be a barrier. If you need the support, talk to me and we can arrange something that is manageable, and we'll get you through it. I'd rather help you through and keep you in business than you worry about paying us and then don't get to keep your business. And as I said, there's many other things we can help you with. So we can help you with cash flow forecasting. We can help you with some of your critical issues. For example, if one of your critical issues is cash flow and getting your money in from customers, credit control, we can help with that. If you'd like some help setting up a budget, we can help you do that. We can show you how to put it into zero so you can monitor it. We can do ongoing reporting. So there's many ways we can help you. Just book a call with us and we can take it from there. So I'm just going to look so I can see there has been a few questions. Now this is the first time I've done a webinar like this, so if I lose the screen, I do apologise. Just bear with me a minute. There you go, hopefully you can see me now. Questions. Oh, bless. Somebody couldn't see me. I hope you was able to hear me okay. So I have got a couple of other questions come up. Somebody's put here, I love the idea of business recovery plan, but I'm flat out with work right now. How do I free up capacity to do this? So obviously you're going to do the work that's a priority. We have a great tool that helps you to decipher what's urgent, what's necessary, what's important, not important. We call it the Achiever Matrix, which many of you have probably seen. And I can send you that over. And then you just go through your to-do list and mark out what is important, what's not important. And then take it from there, but making sure that business recovery planning is in your important quadrant to do, because obviously it is extremely important to your business and it will help you probably achieve some of the other tasks in your to-do list as well. Somebody else put, I'm concerned I can't afford to do this work. What do you suggest? So as I said before, we can help you with the costs. I've got payment plan options. We just started using a payment, payment facility called our Pay, which allows you to spread payments, but we can also set up direct debits and things like that. So we can definitely spread the cost if that's an issue. So we don't want you to stop or not do something just because there's an issue with payment. So I think that's it for all the questions. If anyone has any more? No. Okay, I'm going to go back to my screen to finish it off. So before I go, before we go even, I thought I'd share this quote with you. Things may never go back to normal, and you may need to create a new normal, and that's okay. There's many things we don't know at the moment, and quite a few of us don't want to go back to the old way. We want to create a new way, and however you're feeling is completely fine. So make a simple plan today. Commit to at least 3 actions you will take as a result of being on this webinar today. Write them down. If there's more than one of you in the team, give each one an owner and set a completion date. It's a really worrying time at the moment for many businesses, but you don't need to worry alone. There's tons of support out there from the government, from us, and there's probably more to come too. So we, as I said before, we want to help you get through this. So thank you for attending today. I appreciate your time is valuable, so I really appreciate you taking the time to be here today. Have a great week, and as I said, don't hesitate to get in touch if you need us. As you close the webinar down, you will see there's a couple of questionnaires. I've finally got technical and worked out how to do it, so I really appreciate if you could complete the questionnaire on the finish. So yes, thank you, and have a good week. Bye.